Hello and welcome to another Sprues and Brews unboxing. Today we're looking at a couple of items for Adeptus Titanicus, the brand new Direwolf Heavy Scout Titan from Forge World, one armed with a volcano cannon and one armed with a Neutron Laser. So first of all, massive thanks to Games Workshop for sending us these a little bit early to have a look at and review. In the video what we're going to do is have a look at all the components, have a look at how it goes together, check out the terminals and the weapons, and yeah, see what we get for the newest Titan added to the game. Quite an interesting one, this one, because it's not one that we've seen in 40k before, and it's like a heavy warhound. It's quite blocky and quite a different looking design to the core warhound, so I'm interested to see how this is different. Does it have any other abilities? And yeah, what we'll do is hopefully at the end of the video as well, we'll have these built, hopefully. Ideally painted, but built at least so we can see what they look like in the flesh. So yeah, let's crack on and open these. Now, obviously the main difference with both these kits is just the main weapon mounted on the back of the Titan. So what we'll do is we'll have a look at the components in one, we'll check out the weapon on the other one, and then we'll check out all the profile and the data cards and stuff. So let's have a look at this one with the Neutron Laser and crack it open. Have a look. So Adeptus Titanicus, if you don't know, is the game of inspired by the old 80s Adeptus Titanicus, kind of brought back a couple of years ago and lets you have battles with Titans. If you played it Epic 40k in any of its previous incarnations, we're talking about that scale. Though the scale of the game has increased a little bit compared to the Epic days. And yeah, basically you create a mana pool of Titans, and there's a load of different support for it now, different narrative scenarios and books and stuff. Really, really fun game. We'll see the data terminal in a little bit, but one of the main differences is you've got this control panel for your Titan where you can adjust your you see how your reactor's getting hot. It could be a danger of the thing exploding if it goes too high, or your damage gets tracked on that, or your weapons get locked in. Really, really fun. But first of all, what we'll do is have a look at the components of this kit. So this is the Warhound Heavy Scout Titan, and at the time this was announced, we weren't sure if this was going to be an upgrade for the plastic Warhound kit, but no, it is entirely resin. So if we have a look at these parts, I kind of wasn't expecting it to be fully resin as well, with it being I guess like we thought a Warhound variant. If we look at the head, that is it's very similar to a Warhound head, if not identical, and me and quite a few other people thought that this would just be an upgrade, but no, it is a full resin kit. So that means that we may see some more variants of this in the future. Obviously we've got the choice of the two weapons on the back, but what we could see perhaps is different weapons on the arms, different loadouts maybe. It's, as with all the Forge World kits, it is a really really detailed kit. Now what I would say, if you've not built any kind of Forge World kits before, maybe you're just used to the plastic Titans for Adeptus Titanicus, what you're best doing is giving this a good soak in soapy water to get all the release agent off it. And you might see when I kind of twist it, there might be a little bit of a shimmer to it. Basically the way these are made are with rubber moulds, and they put a release agent on the parts to help them pop out basically, so they can get them out of the mould. And what you can find is if you don't fully clean off that release agent, you can find that paint won't stick to it. So what I do is just get a big tub, fill it with some soapy water, let it soak in there for a little bit, and then give it a good scrub, and that will get the release agent off the parts. And then once they're dry, you can just build them as usual, spray them up. I normally just use the Games Workshop primer, and then yeah, then you can paint it. Now normally for Adeptus Titanicus I would build them in sub-assemblies. With this guy being quite chunky, and I'll see when I build it, I might just leave the kind of the panels off the legs and the shoulders separate, just so it means you can get that skeletal structure underneath painted silver, and then paint the panels separately. But with this guy being quite chunky, it might not really matter too much building the entire thing, because I think there's going to be very little of the exposed skeleton with this being quite heavily armoured. There's some pipes and stuff, and then finally we've got the Neutron Laser itself. So the weapon loadout is really the only difference between these two kits. It's a shame that they're not both in the same box, so you can't swap out the main gun on the back. So just bear that in mind when you pick it up. You're going to have to choose which loadout that you want. But what we'll do, we'll have a look at the weapons next so you can see what they look at. And then same base as a Warhound Titan. So like I said earlier, in games of Adeptus Titanicus, you have got a command card that essentially is your control panel for the Titan. It's got all your points details on there, all your stats, your various kind of damage charts and positions for kind of critical damage, and then the reactor and void shield tracks are also on here as well. So basically using this you can record all the stats of your Titan. There's no need to put little dice on the base or anything. It's all quite cleverly controlled in here. Now when the game came out there was like thick card ones with punched holes, and then there's a sprue of like indicators that comes with the core game that you could push into them. Now they don't do that now unfortunately, but what you could do is mount this to something and use pins. Some people use magnets for them, so there's quite a few fun ways to be able to do it so they kind of, you're not going to accidentally knock the markers basically. You've got space for a carapace weapon and a torso weapon as well, so we'll have a quick look at the stats of this thing. So it is 210 points plus weapons. I think a Warhound's about 180 off the top of my head. And it's got similar stats, but there are differences. So it is a little bit slower. I think it commands up 4+, I think command 5+ on a Warhound off the top of my head. But it does have 3 cerviticlades. Manoeuvrability is a little bit less. I think it's 3-5 on a Warhound. We've got 2-4 here. But on the whole, it's pretty much I guess what it says on the tin, a slightly heavier Warhound. Now, what's really cool, and if we just bring this in so we can see it, is its special rule, Stalker. So this Titan is deployed after all of the units. Players take it in turns, starting with the player who has control of the battlefield, to deploy one Titan with the Stalker rule anywhere on the battlefield. The Titan must be set up at least 8 inches and at least 50% obscured from enemy units. These conditions do not apply if it's deployed in the control and player's deployment zone. This Titan counts as deployed for the purposes of determining which player finished deploying first. Now you'll notice that there's no restriction on there on even deploying it in the enemy deployment zone. As long as it's 8 inches away from enemy units and it's 50% obscured, you can put this thing where you like. So that is really, really cool. Being able to have, you know, a volcano with some cannon or something deployed really close to your opponent. They're going to have to try and flush out this direwolf because it could be in a really good position to be quite a thorn in the side of the opponent. 210 points isn't too expensive either, which is really good. So yeah. Now obviously at the minute, weapon options wise, you've got mega bolters that are paired on the fists, and then on the back of it either the Neutron Laser or the volcano cannon. So you probably are going to have something working in tandem with it to strip shields, and then yeah, open up and start putting hurt on things. So speaking of the weapon options, they are on the construction manual. So we'll have a quick flick through this first, just see how it goes together. And then on the back we've got the Neutron Laser stats, and then we'll check out the volcano cannon. I think it's just a standard volcano cannon, to be fair. So, and I do love the look of it. It is. I know some people don't like it, and it kind of looks like the big robot thing from RoboCop. I quite like him. He's got a bit of charm to him. I think I'll be painting this guy up as Legio Mortis, I think. So we get kind of an exploded diagram of all the parts. So quite a few parts, but I don't think it's going to be too tricky to go together. Forge World instructions are a lot better than they used to be back in the day, where you pretty much got a picture of the finished product and you had to kind of work out how it went together itself. There's none of that here. You've got step-by-step guides showing you the part in question and even like where you need to glue as well. So yeah, really, really good. So as we see, okay. So yeah, there's very few panels on the body and stuff, to be fair, that would be separate. So I think I am going to build this all in one go. Obviously we've got the armour plates over the arms and there's armour plates over the legs. Maybe I might leave them separately. but on the whole it looks a fairly simple build. It looks like it's pretty posable as well. You've got these various pistons, and it does say that you can cut off areas of it if you do want a quite dramatic pose. So if you want it kind of running forward or stomping on something, what I might do with the two of them is have one kind of in the static pose like that, and then maybe have a more kind of dramatically posed one. We'll see how we do, but yeah, hopefully by the end of the video I'll show you what they look like in the flesh. And then yeah, so quite a straightforward build by the look of things. Looking at the weapons, we've got the Ardex Defensor Mega Bolter. As far as I can see, that's just normal Mega Bolter stats, but it is paired. 10 points, same as a Mega Bolter on a Warhound anyway. And then we've got the Neutron Laser at 45 points, short range +1 accuracy, 30 inches, long range 60, 1 dice strength 7. It's got bypass, carapace, draining and shock. So yeah, that might be quite nasty to have kind of lurking around, ready to get a shot off something turn 1. The fact that these things can get quite close is... the opponent's going to have to kind of think about that and either bring one themselves that they can force the same situation on their opponent, or just deal with this thing, because you don't want this lurking around, even as a... you know, it's not the biggest Titan in the world, it's not going to be the most difficult to take down, but you certainly don't want it milling around left to its own devices. So what we'll do, we'll have a quick look at the stats on the Volcano Cannon build. So like I say, the main difference on this one is just the Volcano Cannon on the back of it rather than the Neutron Laser. And again, hopefully I should have this built up so I can show you what that looks like at the end. But we'll have a quick look at this stat card as well. Obviously the terminal's the same because it's the same kind of Titan, but the Neutron Laser is placed with a Volcano Cannon, so 25 points, 30-inch range short, +1 accuracy at short range, 60 inches on long range, 1 dice strength 10, and then blast 3 inches, carapace and draining. So yeah, for the top of my head, that's just fairly normal Volcano Cannon stats. The Neutron Laser looks quite interesting, so I think that's going to be the more popular build, I think. And on the back of the card, it actually shows how you can swap this into battle groups and mana pools. So essentially, you are allowed to swap any non-compulsory Warhound for the Direwolf. You can do that once per mana pool, and you can also take one auxiliary Direwolf as well. So yeah, pretty good. So you don't have many of these in your force, but obviously you can probably get easily in a small game 2, so one in a mana pool and have one auxiliary one. If you are Legio Audax, you can you've got a bit more freedom to swap them out, so that's quite cool if you do want to have a Direwolf themed army. And here is a look at the Assembled Direwolf, and I've got to say, I know there was a lot of criticism of its looks when it was first announced, but I really like it. The legs are a lot more posable kind of in the flesh than they are in those pictures. It has got kind of the same hips and joints as a Warhound, and the weapon arms actually have pre-drilled magnet holes. I used 2mm by 1mm magnets. You can probably squeeze in a 3mm there. I think I went a bit small. But that is a good sign that there may be alternate arm weapons for this. Obviously there's a separate card for the Mega Bolters, so that's pretty cool. And what you can also do, if you only glue the kind of pipe to the main section there, you can actually pivot these guns around as well. And with the guns swept out, it gives it a little bit less of a chicken walker vibe. So yeah, really, really nice. What I've also done is, if you are clever with the kind of pipes there as well, you can have the main gun separate as well. I suspect that if they did bring out any other guns, they'll have their own mount to it, but it makes it easy for transport and painting it as well, so you can get under that carapace. So that is a look at the new Direwolf Titan for Adeptus Titanicus. Really, really fun kit, fully resin. So obviously if you've never built any resin kits before, just, you know, take your time and make sure you read the included kind of fact sheet on how to do it. As ever, massive thanks to Games Workshop for sending us these a little bit early to have a look at and review with you guys. I'm going to be building up the other Direwolf and get these painted up in Legio Mortis colours, I think. I fancy doing a Traitor Legion. So yeah, once we've got those done, I'll be putting progress up on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll probably follow up with another post with the finished maniple when they're ready. So I hope you've enjoyed that video. If you did, why not give us a follow? We do lots of unboxings and battle reports, and we've got some painting guides and the like as well, so if you like that kind of stuff, check us out. But until next time, hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.